I'm here with 2017 WWE Hall of Famer Kurt Angle. You're remembered for, having some amazing matches, but also doing a lot of comedy in the past. Then when you lost that hair versus hair match with Edge, it seemed like you kind of became a serious character, which has kind of stayed through your career in TNA until now. Do you see yourself doing more comedy now that you're Raw general manager, or do you see yourself kind of being a little more serious?
I think you're going to see both sides. I really think it's ultimately up to Vince McMahon and Triple H and the creative team. It's really how far they want to go with it. I do know that they do enjoy both sides, and that's what they want from me. And that's what I'm going to give. I have a great opportunity to be the GM of Raw, and, I wasn't expecting this. This came very recently. And, I think it had a lot to do with Mick Foley having to have hip surgery. So taking this opportunity just gets me one step, further in the WWE to where I wanted to be. And I like the position for now.
Yeah. And did you find out about it before the Hall of Fame, or was it kind of around that time?
It was right around that time when I met with Triple H and he gave me the news. He wanted me to start on Monday, and I believe it was Friday night right before I gave my speech.
Oh, wow.
And I wasn't surprised. There were a lot of rumors going around, and Triple H reassured me they were just rumors. There was never any talk of me becoming general manager until recently. And I think, I know a lot of, I don't like to call them dirt sheets, but a lot of sites, that were saying that I was going to be the Raw GM, but they were wrong, because I would have known that whole time, and nobody contacted me.
Gotcha. Diamond Dallas Page was in the Hall of Fame. He created the DDP Yoga app, which has helped many, many people. And now you've created your own app, the AngleStrong Addiction Recovery mobile app from AngleStrong.com. When did you first get the idea for it?
I've had the idea for a couple of years. When I got out of rehab, and I will tell you this, there is, when you're in rehab, it's easy to stay clean. No matter what anyone tells you, you go through detox. Once you get through detox, you're on a nice regimented diet. You're on a fitness program. You're going to class. You learn about your disease. You're going to sleep. You're getting 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night. If you want to go to bed early, if you want to go a little later, but you're going to get your 8 hours. It is the healthiest, point in my life I've ever been, and because there's structure. But once you're done, there's no structure. You go out in the real world, and now you're in chaos again. And you're asking these people, recovering addicts, to stay clean after they just had, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months of peace and structure. Now you're telling them to go into an unstructured world and stay clean. That's why 95% of them, even more, 98% of them relapse. It's just, it's a fact of life. There's no aftercare. You have AA meetings and NA meetings, and if you want to pay for a counselor or a psychiatrist, which could be pretty costly. But if you're a father of 5 and you're married and you have a job and you're working quite a bit and you're very active, it's really hard to get to AA meetings every single day. I do highly condone AA meetings, but at the same time, I don't believe it's enough structure for people to stay clean. So I thought about making an app and having a program on a website that people can follow, an initiative. And I looked for an app for a couple of years, and I wanted to start creating my own. And I ran into a gentleman called Dr. Jonas, Harold Jonas from Tampa. I believe he's from Tampa Bay, Florida. And he already had the app. It was HIPAA approved. It was an award-winning app. It did everything that I wanted the app to do, and we decided to team up together. So we created the AngleStrong app, and we brought it to the public in January.
That's great. And how's the response been so far?
It's been good. With anything, you're going to have glitches, and at one point it was on the Android, but it wasn't in the App Store and the iPhone because they didn't like that we were GPS enabled. The app does everything for you. You know, you follow it. You follow the structure. You check in every day. If you don't check in, your lifelines are notified. That's your family, your loved ones, your sponsor. So it holds you accountable, and it also is GPS enabled. And that's what iPhone didn't like, that we were tracking our patients, you know. So we want that, because if you do relapse, we're going to find you. And if you don't check in a few days, we can still find you. It's the one thing that people value more than anything, whether they're addicts or not, is the phone. You know, you got to have it for communication. So most likely that phone's going to be with them, whether they relapse or not. So we thought it was a tremendous idea. And eventually, you know, iPhone came around and said, okay, let's do this. So it was a hard process. We've got, I think we've had about over 5,000 members after about 6 weeks. But also we had to, you know, we've been doing a lot of 7-day free trial periods. So we're going to get the real numbers soon. But, you know, my goal is to have as many people in this as possible. And the only way to do that is going out to the public and doing speeches, doing media, talking about my story and how it relates to other people's. And hopefully the most important thing is that I want to do is to save people's lives.
Well, I think that's amazing. And just wanted to ask you one last question. You know, with your highs and lows, coming back, meeting with Vince McMahon again, you met with him for the first time after 11 years before the Hall of Fame. Obviously, you've seen him several times since then. Has there been a thawing out process at all over the 11 years, or is it kind of just back to where you guys were now?
You know, with Vince, you have to remember, he's always thinking. He's always got something on his mind. So you don't know which Vince you're going to run into. You know, one day he's going to hug you and, you know, talk to you for 20 minutes. And the next day he doesn't have time to do it. You know, Vince is a very lovable man, and he and when you're good to him, he's good to you. He's always been that way. And he was my father figure for a long time. But when I stopped listening to him is when, you know, the heat came between us. But we didn't talk for 11 years. But once I saw him, the first thing he wanted to do is he wanted to hug me and just hold me close. And it was really cool. I just thought that, you know, wow, you know, we parted. It wasn't ugly, but it was, you know, we both didn't get what we wanted. That's basically, you know, I didn't want to leave and Vince didn't want me to leave. The issue was, I didn't want to stay under circumstances, and he didn't want me to stay under my circumstances. I didn't want to get clean, and I also didn't want to work full time. So there was a battle there, and we just couldn't agree. And Vince lost his best wrestler, but I also lost the company that made me who I am, and and gave me the opportunity to be able to perform the way I did. Vince is the one that came up with the Kurt Angle character, and he had a great writer named Brian Kawartz that worked very hard at, molding that character. So I give Vince a lot of credit for the success I've had in pro wrestling.
Kurt, I know you're a busy man. Thank you so much.
Thanks, my friend. Take care.